At E3 last year, Ubisoft's press conference heavily featured The Division 2. And as a fan of the first installment, I was extremely excited to see what the sequel had in store. And the info we got didn't disappoint. The creative director for Massive Entertainment came out and absolutely crushed, I think, everyone's expectations, and gave us a big reason to be excited. But E3 was 6 months ago, and since then, we've got absolutely nothing. So what on earth is going on with The Division 2? What is up, guys? Welcome back to TGG. If it's your first time here, I'm all about making videos that can help you make better purchasing decisions on what games to buy, but also create conversations around those games. So if that seems like something you'd be interested in, I'd love it if you could become part of this community by subscribing down below. And today we're going to be talking about The Division 2. And as I just said, at E3 last year, The Division 2 crushed it. They gave us, in my opinion, everything we wanted to hear and more. And it got me, and I think the entire RPG community, pretty excited for what we're going to see from this game. I mean, just look at the crowd's reaction when they said raids would be in the game.
Raids are coming to The Division 2.
But since E3, we've sort of been left in the dark, and it brings about two massive topics of discussion for the game and its community. And the first one I want to touch on is the hype for the game. See, at this stage, The Division 2 is sort of flying under the radar. But when you're a big company like Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment that's trying to sell a game, going under the radar, that's not exactly what you want. So I want to compare The Division 2's approach to a game like Anthem. While I have my own concerns about some aspects of Anthem, the approach the developer BioWare has taken is actually quite clever. Every couple of weeks, the devs have been sort of just reminding everyone about their game by releasing new info, but mainly new gameplay. With the developers sitting down to livestream missions and strongholds for everyone to enjoy, but also ask questions about as well. And what this is doing is continuously generating hype around the game. See, Anthem releases in about a month, and The Division 2 releases only a few weeks after that. But the amount of gameplay we've seen from one far outweighs the other, and Ubisoft is forcing themselves into a corner. With that said though, The Division 2 will be headlining next month's PlayStation magazine, and let's hope that it's going to provide us with some more info, screenshots, and the like. But let's be real for a second. Who's actually going to read that magazine? While at least this is something, you gotta give them credit for that, we're gonna need a bit more than a magazine. The Division 1 at launch was shaky. Yeah, let's call it shaky. There were several issues with the game, but one of its main issues centered around the lack of things to do once you completed the main story. In the couple years after launch, the developers got the game to the point where it was considered complete by a lot of players. And at E3 last year, the devs came out to say that they're making sure that a weak launch won't happen again. But the thing is, most people didn't stick around for 2 years in The Division 1, and most people don't know what the game is like today, and therefore they don't have much faith in the sequel. You can come out and tell us about all the improvements you're making in the sequel, sure, and I can appreciate that, but 2 months from launch, you've got to show us the improvements. It sort of makes me feel bad for all of the Division YouTubers because they've got absolutely nothing to work with. Videos with tiny tidbits of info are getting massive amounts of views, and most of their content is becoming Division 2 rumor this, Division 2 rumor that. Because that's the only thing we've really got. And the lack of info, the lack of gameplay we've been getting is 1, making me concerned for the game, but 2, making me lose hype for it as well. And that brings us to the second topic of discussion, and it's one that we really need to talk about, and that's what state is this game actually in? Because we really don't know. And first up, I actually just want to apologize for having this gameplay on screen that you're seeing now, because I know you've probably seen it before. But the sad thing is, despite the gameplay that other players have recorded at E3, which I'm not allowed to use, this is pretty much the only gameplay we've got, a scripted, pre-recorded demo that was shown at E3. And for those of you, like myself, who are looking to get your own hands on the game, like a demo or a beta so you can get some gameplay yourself, absolutely, go sign up for it on the website. I recommend it. But as for finding out when the beta will actually take place, you'll be greeted with this screen. For a game this size, and for a game where failure isn't really an option considering the way the first game went, this is concerning, and it's extremely strange. So this, along with everything else we've gone over, begs the question, will The Division 2 end up being delayed? And in my opinion, I think it's a pretty safe bet, and I'm gonna tell you why it's actually a very good thing too. As I've said in multiple videos already, and I know you guys are probably sick of it, with its current release date, The Division 2 will be going head to head with Anthem. And Anthem, regardless of whether it's the best game we've ever played or just an average game, will have a ridiculous amount of people playing it as soon as it comes out. Now, The Division 2 could go head to head with Anthem like it's currently slated to, but it's just not the right move in my opinion. And here's why. How many of you have played a game called Titanfall 2? I'm sure some of you did, right? And in my opinion, it's a great game, and I think it was severely underrated and mainly underplayed. But why is that? It's because it was released in between the releases of Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And Battlefield 1 was pretty good, right? But Infinite Warfare was the least played Call of Duty in recent history. But despite that, it still overshadowed Titanfall 2's release, and forced it to become essentially irrelevant, even though Titanfall 1 was a big hit. Now let's talk about a game that had the complete opposite approach to Titanfall 2. Do you guys know why Fortnite was so successful? I mean, yeah, of course, it's Fortnite, right? It's obviously a great game itself, and on top of that, it's free. But why did it get so popular so fast? Its release date. Fortnite's Battle Royale released in a period of 2018 when it had absolutely no competition. There's no way in hell if Fortnite went head to head with a big game like Call of Duty, or even a game like Anthem, that it would have been as successful as it was. So going back to how all of this relates to The Division 2, if Ubisoft does the smart thing and delays the game to a date maybe somewhere in May, for example, 1, it'll allow the developers more time to improve the game, but 2, it'll put the game in the best position to succeed, because its main competitor, Anthem, will have slowed down a little bit by then, and its other competitor, Destiny, isn't going to have another big content release until about September, if they continue the schedule they've been following. So now I want to flip the conversation over to you. What are your thoughts on The Division 2? Do you think it's losing hype? Do you think it should be delayed? Or do you think it should go head to head with Anthem and keep its current release date? Let me know in the comments below. As always, it doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with me, but let's have a chat either way. So, that'll do it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'd love it if you could smash like, and feel free to subscribe down below as well to become part of this community. But until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!